Round 2 of the 2023 NRL, done and dusted. Unfortunately, the Warriors went down to the Sydney Chooks. A game we should have won, but I think we let slip away through some poor kicking, which put us under pressure. Spent way too much time on our own goal line there defending. Sucked the life out of us, so we couldn't quite execute in those big moments at the end of the game. But I think we proved we could play for 80 minutes. Stifling heat there in Sydney. Let's see if we can do it again. Round 3. Warriors versus Cowboys, back up in the heat in Northern Queensland. Let's go. Hey team, welcome back to the Warriorholic. Time to take a quick look at the North Queensland Cowboys versus our Warriors this Saturday up in North Queensland there. So, as it sits, both teams are 1 win, 1 loss. We're 0 points for against. They're minus 11. We sit at 7th on the table and they're down in 13th. So that's a good start for the boys. Would love to see us get a win this weekend against the Cowboys up there. Improve our for and against and solidify our position up in the top 7. Or top 8 I should say. Quick look back at last round and how both teams went from a stats perspective to put a little bit of context on things. So we know both teams went down. We went down 20-12. They went down 28-16. And interesting in both games, both us and the North Queensland Cowboys had 46% of the footy and the opposition had 54%. Completion rates, 81% for us, 77% for them. Run meters, 1,589 for us, 1,539 for them. Post-contact meters, 587 for us, 550 for them. Pretty similar. Probably explains similar results. Where there are a few differences, line breaks, we had 4, they had 3, basically the same. Kicking meters, as we saw last week, the Warriors down there in 547. Cowboys kicked for 702. Big difference there. Another risk that we run being put on the back foot if we can't sort that this week. Kick return meters, 134 for us versus 159 for them. That surprises me. Our big back 3, led by Montoya there, generally have some pretty good kick return meters. Not sure if that's a one-off, but I really hope that we can turn that around and get the better kick return meters this week. Forced dropouts, we got none. We got a bunch against us by the Roosters, which left us fighting off our own line for quite a while there and tied us out. They managed to get 2. Not greatly dissimilar, but I think that's something we really need to add to our game this week. Effectiveness of defence. This is where we look a lot better. 93.5% versus their 84.5%. Unfortunately, we made 407 tackles versus their 329. That could show towards the end of the game this week up there in the Queensland heat again. Hopefully that didn't take too much out of us this early in the season. But we wouldn't want a repeat of that this weekend, that's for sure. Another stat we're clearly winning here is we missed 23 tackles last week. They missed 42. The week before we missed 32. They went from 39 to 42. So pretty poor effort on both rounds for them. Hopefully we can exploit that with a bit of expansive footy there. Another stat that I'm going to keep an eye on this season is the speed of the player ball that traditionally I think the Warriors have always lost their opposition. Last week we were able to play the ball on an average of 3.5 seconds and we held the Roosters to 3.8, which means we were able to hold them down longer without getting penalised more than they did, allowing us that fraction of a second to get back and build our line on defence, which probably reflects our completion or our effectiveness rate there. On the other hand, Cowboys were the same as us on 3.5, which is relatively quick for their player balls, but they let the Broncos play in 3.1 seconds, which is really quick, which is probably a key indication on why the Broncos got on top of them and scored more points. So I hope we can maintain this where we at least maintain parity, if not get a better balance in our favour of play the ball speed, allowing our defence time to set. Right, looking at the lineups. Some big outs for both teams. They lost Drinkwater and Hiku. At the moment, we've lost Chance, Nickel-Klugstead and Ford. For me, we could potentially lose Curran. I don't think a hip injury that he looked like he had last week fix in just a week. He's named on the bench there, could be a bit of foxing. Jazz performed pretty well last week for the New South Wales Cup, so I highly expect him to come into the bench there come game day. So replacing our two fullbacks, we have a guy in Tom Chester for the Cowboys. He's coming into his second game. He made his debut last year and has only played one game in total. We've got our boy Taupiki making his debut, so not a big difference in experience there. I can be honest and say I know nothing about our boy Chester there, but Taupiki I'm really excited about. He's got explosive speed, footwork, got the ability to get a pass away, and he plays a lot like Reece Walsh behind the ruck there. That lightning speed on his feet could play a big part coming into the end of the game. He's probably a little bit more agile than Chance. We'll lose a bit with his ability to return the ball and take those big, sort of hits up the middle that Chance takes the pressure off our forward pack at times, but I think he brings a little bit of X factor there that we don't have at the moment. So that's a positive for me. They lose Hiku and Shibasaki comes in. And I'm a big Hiku fan. I think, we should have kept him. Underrated his ability to put other people away and set them up some, much more solid in defence than a lot of people give him a credit for. So he's a big loss for them, but Shibasaki's a solid player. I think he's just really struggled to find that place in the side that can really develop him. Really solid build, quick on his feet, quite agile, good hands. So I expect him to be a handful for Pompey this week, and I really hope Pompey steps up and adds a little bit more in attack. So that'll be a good matchup there. For us, we've had to make a sort of a bit more of a shuffle in the forwards there, bringing Bunty Afoa into the front row, moving Mitch Barnett out onto an edge. So that's a couple of changes in our starting lineup that I don't think, no one's out of a position or into a position they're really uncomfortable with. We know Barnett's traditionally a back rower, so Sirenen coming onto the bench for me is a bit of a worry. I think having, Ford there in our starting role, he was a big body, high impact. Then you have Curran coming in with high energy. Sirenen, he's skillful, covers a lot of positions, but I think he lacks real genuine impact, and he's not a huge body, so leaves a bit of a gap there for me. So if Jazz does come on, he's going to have to play a lot of hard minutes up the middle there and probably play in a kind of secondary prop role. Slight concern, but, what are you going to do? That's all about playing footy, how you handle your injuries. Comparing the back lines, felt, one of the top try scorers in the past seasons. Valentine Holmes, world-class, X-factor, able to win games at Origin and international level. Shibasaki, I've mentioned, solid, good player. Tuolangi, world-class, international. Tom Dearden went from being who's this guy going to be at the Broncos to all of a sudden being a rock star last year, winning Origin games. So he's going to be a massive handful. And Chad Townsend, we all know how solid that boy is and his experience. So 4 or 5 world-class, genuine X-factor, game-turning kind of experience players there versus us. X-factor, we've got a young guy coming off the bench or coming in there for his first ever game. And we've got Sean Johnson, who's burdened with basically controlling the whole attack, the kicking game and so forth. That I think they're going to get us on X-factor. Hopefully we can get them on work rate and, defence, hold our own there at least. I think, we can match it in hitting the ball back off our own and the like, but I think it's that X factor to break the line I'm a little bit concerned about. Forwards, we know all of their names: McLean, Robinson, Cotter, Hess, Nanai, Taumalolo. Taumalolo and Nanai for me are the worries. Both of those guys are genuine all-stars, or superstars, X-factors, very quick, hard-running ball players that can really influence the outcome of a game. We've seen from Taumalolo over the past few years, he's had his ups and downs, so let's hope he has a down week and, he doesn't dominate us in the middle there. I think when it comes to, the actual tight battle in the middle, there's no reason we can't match them and dominate them there a little bit. We've shown over the past couple of weeks our ability to really compete there. I think it's more about the creativity of the edges that might get us a little bit there. That said, Niokore is a big body. If we get him a bit more involved this week, he could have a really good battle there with Nanai. Forwards, I'm going to say 50-50. My heart wants to say that the Warriors have a bit of an edge. The mind wants to tell me that they've got a bit of an edge, so I guess it will sit about 50-50. Looking at the benches, I'm going to give us a slight edge here, Jake Granville's a solid player. He does have a good impact there at hooker. I think the fact that we've got Dylan Walker there, who's a multi-dimensional player at 14, he can come in multiple positions. He's definitely got the speed and the footwork to really sort of break the line when he comes on later in the game and players are tired. So I'm going to give him the nudge there. Curran against our boy from down the South Island there in New Zealand. Name, I think it's how I say it. Neem, that's it. Get it right. If Curran does play, you've got to give it to him on experience. Neem's, he's a very solid player, but if Jazz came on, again, a pretty similar battle, but I think we win that there in experience. Tanoa Brown against Sirenen, a prop versus an edge. Both, for me, not world class. They're good plotters, so they're probably not, sort of cancel each other out. Tamo against Ali, the old bull versus the young bull. You'd have to hope that the intensity and energy from Ali might get a little bit up over Tamo there. Pretty similar benches all in all, right? I'm kind of sitting on the fence when it comes to all three, the backs, the forwards and the bench here, but I'm going to give a slight advantage to us there. How does this all add up? For me, it's going to be a tight game. I would imagine we're looking at less than a 10-point win either way. Hart says I think there's no reason that we can't beat these guys given their form at the moment. If Peyton manages to get them up and they play at a level that they played at last year, it's going to be a very tough game, particularly for us, I think, to score points. Against the lesser teams, I think we don't have a problem there. We've got the creativity to get through the bottom half. But, when you get to these top four teams, they get there on defence. So, tough for us to break them down, but here's hoping they're still a little bit off the boil there. Unless we're on our game, I think there's an opportunity, or, the chances are those guys can walk away with us quite comfortably. So, it's going to take another big 80-minute effort. It's going to take a better kicking game. More time in their half, less time on our own line defending repeat sets. So, pretty tough game to call. I'm going to say the Warriors get it up and take the win by, what are we going to say? Say 5-point win to the Warriors. Put $10 on that and you'll probably get a couple of bucks back. Warriors versus the Cowboys. We're walking away 2-3. Solidified in the top 8. Somewhere no one expected us to be heading into the season. Up the mighty Warriors, all in for 2023.